Alright guys, so yeah, I'm over here with James, and we had a nice little connection. We met on Facebook. I did a little post trying to get this TV show started up, and he was nice enough to take his time to come here. I appreciate it. To our studio down in Beechwood, I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and what we're going to do now is, we both grew up in like the same type of time, like 80s and 90s, and music was a lot different back then. I'm sure a lot of people listening may not know, or maybe some people may know. But music has changed a lot, and to me, what I saw with my own eyes, I grew up with like the 70s and 80s, then it went into heavy like MTV, and then after the whole Nirvana grunge scenes, like the whole music scene just crashed, stopped, exploded, then I kind of stopped following it. So, you know?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, there was a lot of hip hop, you know, in the late 90s, I remember, and, you know, I wasn't a big fan of hip hop then. I actually became a fan of hip hop later when Eminem came out. I'm actually a big fan of his, and he kind of is an influence on some of my songwriting.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I remember that time period. It's like a little bit of a musical void, you know.
Yeah,
late 90s.
Right,
yeah.
and it's funny like how we grow up kind of just molds us to who we are, and people don't realize music is always an important part of our culture and actually who we are as a person.
Sure.
Because when we're younger and we've always been judged, like in my age and era, been judged like what type of music you are, what type of genre you're in, been judged like, oh, you're a metalhead, you're a skinhead, you know, you like rap. And it's just always, music is always such important. And what I learned is music is the one thing that everybody has in common, all walks of life. I don't care who you are. I never spoke to or met anybody in my life that does not like any type of music. Mm-hmm. It could be, I'm talking from classical, like Mozart, to like jazz, to like crazy skinhead hardcore music. So music is just a really important part of us. It helps us to balance our brains out, especially people, you know, mental illness and all different types of people. Like music really is a good therapy for everybody. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's always been a therapy for me. I remember growing up, you know, listening to my uncle's record collection.
Yeah.
You know, he had, you know, 60s, 70s, you know, Motown and, you know, Beatles and stuff like that. And I always listened to his stuff. And that was pretty much an early influence on my musical creation, you know, and like, I didn't start playing guitar until I was like 17, though.
Yeah.
You know, and I started writing songs pretty much right away. It was just, it felt very natural to me to write. You know, it was like a form of therapy for me, and, you know, an escape, basically an escape from, you know, what I was living through.
Absolutely,
so.
Yeah, and on that note, a lot of people, believe it or not, they actually get their best content out, like when something's really bothering them.
Sure.
Like if you notice, like some of Eminem songs, you know, they're angry about his ex, about Kim, and all this Marshall Mathers stuff. But a lot of people get their best stuff out as a therapy, and that's what the original creativity content comes in.
Sure.
So you know, so I would just like to ask you, so how do you feel like your music style is influenced on anything that you grew up with in any part of your life? Like the one song you're saying is about an ex, which is really interesting.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you know, this song Dear Therapist that I recorded today with Dave, it was, you know, at the time when I was with my ex, you know, we had a lot of problems, and, you know, I was in therapy at the time and still in therapy now, and, you know, she kind of was like, you know, man, you're a narcissist, blah, 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 and it kind of played into the lyrics of the song, you know, and the Dear Therapist line is kind of like, you know, me talking to my therapist saying, hey, what's wrong with me? Why is everybody saying there's something wrong with me? You know, and like, you know, and then you kind of just, it gets playful after a while during the lyrics, you know, and, you know, it kind of goes into, you know, my bipolar diagnosis and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I enjoy writing about a lot of different topics, you know, like from, you know, psychology to music to paint, and I paint and stuff like that. I write some songs about painting that are coming out soon, you know, and like I just try to use everything that's going on in my life to influence me.
Yeah, and if you think about it, like you're saying, you go to a therapist, that's great, you know, you have your session, but really you could channel that energy somewhere into music. Really what happens, you take that energy, you channel it, and you're creating something that a lot of people could relate to, you know?
No,
some people, like, they'll listen to it, like, well, you know, I had a problem with a relationship, and I could relate to that.
Sure.
When I listen to that, it just kind of sets me at peace, feeling like, okay, wow, I'm not the only one. I'm not alone. There's other people that have been there, done that.
Sure.
So that's where I feel like music kind of puts us all together in that harmony, you know?
No, it connects us all, I agree, you know, it's just, you know, it's one of those universal things that connects us, you know? And I've never talked to anyone that didn't like one form of music or another, one genre or another, you know, and even if sometimes you don't have something in common, you could actually find some commonality with music.
Exactly.
So.
Okay, yeah. So like, excuse me, camera went out. Yeah. So like James was saying, yeah, even if it's a different type of genre, like for example, like a hardcore hip hop song, and like a rap or a metal, rock could all have like the same bass line to it. It could all be about some type of relationship, about something that really disturbs somebody in their life.
Sure.
Just because a lot of like the hip hop artists, excuse me, right? About like violence, drugs, and stuff in the street. Doesn't mean there's other songs that are not relatable in all types of music.
No, I mean I find that in Eminem, I like his hip hop a lot. He writes a lot about his family, and I've gone through struggles with my own family as well. Trying to raise my kids. Dealing with money problems or whatever, or this and that. And just trying to tell my story. Through my songs, just like he does. So that's where I find a lot of commonality with hip hop, and I've recently started getting into other forms of music like jazz and classical and things like that. But I didn't grow up listening to, but as an older guy now, I guess I feel like I'm more connected to it.
Yeah.
So and it's starting to influence my music too.
Yeah, no, I definitely I liked how your music all had a meaning. Because some people nowadays, obviously, you can go online, you can copy paste, steal ideas with Chat GPT.
Yeah.
You can have an auto song, but no, we like the real original. Because anybody can do that. But if you write a song that really has meaning or about something in your life that actually has something important that people can relate to, that's real music. Because all that copy and paste stuff, anybody can do that. Where's the creativity in that?
Yeah,
it's all about creativity. Music's an art.
Yeah, I don't want to badmouth today's music, but Dave and I grew up listening to probably a lot of the same bands, and because we grew up around the same time, and I guess like music has changed since then. The landscape has changed, the music business has changed, and the way people write songs has changed a lot. There's more technology now. It's easier in some ways to write a song and produce it. You're on your own, but in some ways it's harder because there's so much technology out there to make songs, and you kind of have to pick and choose what you want to do, and that's how
Yeah, exactly. I know.
It.
You actually I can really relate to that now because the technology's made it a lot easier. I talked to so many people that actually made full-length albums and put them on Spotify right in their iPhone.
Sure.
With the little headphone plugged in. I'm like, talk to this one guy. I'm like, you made that whole thing? He said, yeah, I made it on my iPhone sitting in the closet.
Yeah,
I'm like, wow. I said, when we were younger, you used to have to get reel-to-reels, 8-tracks, Tascams, and if you made a mistake, it would be a lot of work fixing it. But now it's like, all right, delete. And the technology's easier. It's easier to collaborate. And it's amazing. You really can grow as an artist.
Sure.
There's all the platforms out there for the one perspective. The other perspectives, you have to realize now you're in the ocean of all other people. It gets real competitive.
Sure.
Because the competition's hard. So again, that's why we're having this channel. We're trying to bring all the good creativity, talent to the surface. To try to just put them one level up where they need to be. Because guys, you got to realize there's so much talent out there and good music. People just don't know. And these guys realize what they're doing. They're working really hard, writing their songs, creating their songs, recording. And by the time they get out there, like that's draining enough just to get out there. Now, who's the one that's going to put them to the next level? So that's where we come in. We're trying to bring it to that next level and just help the artists because it's a lot of work.
Sure, I agree. I've been at this now for 30 years, and it was a hobby for the most part, and I've decided recently to go pro. And it's tough, man. It's tough getting your music heard. There are channels to do it, but there's so much noise out there. There's so many bands, and you have to really stand out in some way. You really do.
You really do, and you're in that pool of, like I say, you're like a grain of sand in the beach. You go to the beach, put it from the Atlantic Ocean, from Jersey to Florida. Imagine all that sand. All you are is another grain of sand in there with all these other people.
Sure.
So nowadays you have to have you have to have something original. You have to have the quality right. You have to have a good recording.
Sure.
And you have to. If there's one thing off, because people are constantly judging. If there's one thing off, they're going to judge you and say, okay, throw them in the pile.
Sure.
But if you get all that stuff right and you have good original content and you're creative, you do have a chance.
Sure.
So I'm not telling everybody to give up hope. I'm not saying it's hopeless. You just have to get it right and put yourself out there. You can't be afraid. It's all about putting yourself out there. The more you put yourself out there, the people who don't, there you go. You're one step ahead.
Sure. I've talked to a lot of people on Facebook, other musicians, other indie artists like me, and they all have the same, they all have the same problem. We all, commiserate, I guess, over that stuff sometimes, because we know it's tough. We know it's really tough to get out there, to get heard. I guess one of the good things nowadays is you can be an indie artist. You don't need a, major label to sign you. In order to get exposure. That's, I guess, one of the good things. But like I said before, you know, you're in a sea of artists that you have to stand out with, and you know, that's the tough part.
Yeah, you can be a good independent artist nowadays. I see people make their own creativity, their own designs for album covers. Obviously, they could record and produce themselves. They could even post themselves. You know, go on Spotify, Amazon Music. But again, you're in the competition. But you have to, again, don't feel hopeless. It's just a matter of putting yourself out there. And a lot of the local bands now, what I see, they're all doing covers, and a lot of the people are getting exhausted. They don't, if they want to hear Nirvana, they want to hear Nirvana. They want to hear Metallica, they want to hear Metallica. They don't want to hear some local band do it. It's cool, but that's not what most people want.
Sure.
They're looking for, the people want something to be stimulated. They're looking for new stuff. They're looking for it to be stimulated. They're looking for fresh ideas, fresh content. And realize, guys, I know a lot of people in the audience, part of the music, they feel hopeless. Oh, what happened to the music industry? It's dead. No, it's not dead. They're out there. You just got to find them. All the good artists are out there. The music is exploding now more than ever. The biggest scene now, obviously, I would say the biggest market out there in a global aspect is music.
Sure.
There's so many artists out there, and it's just overwhelming for the audience. So we're trying to simplify that. We're trying to put everybody on one channel, all the good artists, so you know where to go. You go on the channel, you'll see all the good stuff. So now you go on TikTok, you go on Instagram, YouTube. It's overwhelming. There's so much in your face.
Sure.
So we're trying to make it, you go to one channel, and we take care of all that for you.
No, that'd be great. I mean, I hope, you know, people tune into this and, you know,
Yeah.
appreciate it for, you know, for the art that it is, and
Exactly.
look for new artists that way. You know, that's what we're all trying to do here.
Yeah, this is not about money. There's no money exchange in this business. This is about bringing artists to service and connecting the artists and musicians to the audience. That's what this is about. So, you know, again, you know, I really appreciate everybody watching, and hopefully everybody could work together to grow this channel and support all these talented artists. And so I'll give James anything else you'd like to say about your music, anything coming up we need to know about, the best place to find you.
Well, I just put out a CD, you know, independently released. It's on all the music streaming channels, Spotify, iTunes, etc. And I have a YouTube channel where you can find my music as well. You know, really easy to find, just James Netterwald. Just type that in the search window and you can find my stuff on any of the streaming apps. So I look forward to hearing from any of you soon. You know, be in touch. I'm really good with my fans. You know, I connect with them on YouTube, Facebook, and things like that. So if you need to connect, just, you know, just
and we'd love to hear the feedback. We like comments, positive or negative, whatever it is. We need to know. Constructive criticism is valuable. So tell us what you think. Listen to his music. Tell us your honest opinion. You love it. You don't like it. We take everything. You know. We don't take it personally. We know this is business. We know it's music, so we need to know. So that means you're taking your time to listen to us. Realize everybody has their own creative side. Everybody has their own style. So you can't judge based off a particular style. But just realize all the work. I just want everybody to realize all the work that goes into it. When somebody makes a song, like the songs that we're playing that James made, it's not just he's picked up a microphone and pressed play. That's what he did here. But behind that, we're talking hours and hours of work, getting all the notes together, getting the timing, the harmonies, the lyrics. So realize it's work. So you learn to appreciate that in somebody's work.
Sure. That's absolutely true. And you know, every musician goes through this. You know, whether they're using, you know, their iPhone to produce music, or they're using, you know, Pro Tools or whatever. You know, it's the same thing. You know, there's hours and hours of work, like Dave said, and you know, the songwriting is the key thing. You know, make it personal, make them connect with people, and you'll go far.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks again, guys, for watching. We appreciate your time. We know there's thousands of other channels you could be watching, so we appreciate you watching this one. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. We're going to have all James's info on the bottom. You can click all his links, contact him anytime. I don't think I'll have a problem answering anybody. If there's anything they need to know, they want to ask you a question or anything.
Sure, I'm always open for that. No problem.
All right, guys. Thanks again.
Okay, guys. Thanks for watching our show. And we're super excited to get started here. I got James Netterwald. He's going to play some original content he wrote, kind of indie rock and his own style. So if you want to tell the guys the name of your song that you're doing.
So this first song is called Confusion. It's actually a pretty personal song. It's kind of introspective, narrative, and we're going to start it in like a few seconds here. diagnosis, a walking contradiction. Only I didn't know this, or I was blind to the way I was perceived. Those who I hated, they hated me. Arrogant, so up in this way. Only I didn't care. Believed in who I was, though I was unfair to those who admired me for who I am. Alienated myself from them. Confusion, that's all I know. Confusion, fusion, and it shows. But it doesn't pay to look ahead. I told you this before, I know, but I forgot what I said. I promise this time I'll make a change in my life. But I like motivation all the time. Confusion, fusion, it's all I know. Confusion, fusion, and it shows. Confusion, fusion, that's all I know. Confusion, fusion, and it shows. So yeah, this song is called Dear Therapist, and it was written back in like 2012, 2013. It's about an ex-relationship, and also my diagnosis with bipolar disorder and my struggles with it. So it's a pretty funny song. If you listen to the lyrics, it's actually really good. So here we go. Dear therapist, am I a narcissist for trying to end this dysfunctional relationship? Dear therapist, okay to be selfish, only care about things I wish when others needs interfere. My therapist gives unclear diagnosis, bipolar 2 disease. My DSM-4 description's unclear. therapist? Am I on narcissist? And should I not be pissed or express any emotion whatsoever? Dear therapist, am I cured of this, or just really bored of this? Because my progress won't last forever. Dear therapist.
That was good. Anything else you'd like to say about your music? Anything coming up we need to know about? The best place to find you?
Well, I just put out a CD, independently released. It's on all the music streaming channels, Spotify, iTunes, etc. And I have a YouTube channel where you can find my music as well. Really easy to find. Just James Netterwald. Just type that in the search window, and you can find my stuff.